Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? Crunch time is back, y'all. Mayfield, what's going on? What's going on? I don't think y'all remember from back when the Last Dance was happening. I launched this podcast. I took a little hiatus just to kind of talk about the Last Dance of Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and took some time to brainstorm and everything. And so we're back. So we're gonna cover multiple episodes. Multiple topics, I should say, ranging from basketball to football to the entire sports segment. But we're also gonna bounce into and cover things like politics, economics, just kind of cover current events or whatever the case may be. So what's up, Ari? You hopping on next here in a little bit. So I just want to thank y'all for joining me and just, supporting the whole brand and everything. As y'all can see, I got the backdrop. How y'all like the backdrop? Let me know what y'all think and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? What's up, Mayfield? And I got the shirts, whatever, as y'all can see. So shout out to my man, Anthony Mentor, for designing the logo and everything like that. So we're gonna get started here in a little bit. In terms of the shirts and everything, I'm working on a plan right now for those to be able to scoop these and purchase these online. So I'm about to get started. What's up, Scoop? What's going on, bro? So I'm about to go ahead and add Ari Chambers. Just a quick introduction on her. She works for the Bleacher Report. She's a social media guru, I should say, and also a talent who covers strictly women's sports. She really does her thing. She's one of the top people in the business and everything. So I'm going ahead and add her right now. Ari, what's cracking?
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
What's happening? What's going on? Come on, natural.
Not a guru, though. Not a guru, though.
You are a guru. It's okay. You're a guru. You're a guru. You're a guru. What's going on? How you doing? You doing okay?
I am super swamped, but it's better than being bored. We were bored for so long during the beginning of quarantine. So
right. I understand. Well, as you know, sports is coming back, the WNBA is coming back and everything. I know you're pretty excited about that and everything with it coming back next week.
Super happy. It's just past due. I'm used to starting in early May for preseason games, and now we're in late July. Had to wait this whole time for it.
Whole time. It's crazy, man. So what you hearing from what's happening down there in the bubble?
I actually heard it was straight. It just is kind of like AAU days. They're riding around on their bikes as a team, jumping in the pools. It started off rocky, and everybody obviously wants to capitalize off of that, but they don't realize hey, once all those things were fixed, it's been a good time. Teams are all in one location, which really never happens. So you can see all your friends that play with you there, and so players are having fun. They're vlogging themselves. We get to see an inside scoop on their lives. I think it's lit.
Yeah. The access is stupid crazy right now, especially with social media. You could literally see kind of food they eat, what their rooms are looking like, and as you know, when they first got down, the food wasn't. It's looking like Cracker Barrel. It wasn't looking good.
So they couldn't go to the cafeteria. Now they got a buffet. They fine.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So as you know, what's been happening the last couple of days is a story with Elena Deladon. She has Lyme disease, and she recently got denied by the WNBA. She can't skip out. She has to play in order to get her pay, which is really crazy. She has to take 64 pills a day just to stay, healthy or whatever. So, what's your take on all that?
I think it's messed up. There's no other way around it. As far as it wasn't the league's decision as much as it was the panel of doctors that they hired. So that's where a point of confusion. But for optics alone, if I were the league, I would have figured out a way to, pay her. There was a past ambassador program that they had, and nobody really knew what that was really about. Mm-hmm. But Coach T stepped in, he always looks out for his players. Coach Tebow, he coaches the Washington Mystics. He stepped in and said, we're going to pay her full salary anyway. So it ended up working out, but it's just the fact that she has on record this chronic illness, this chronic disease that has been attacking her immune system for so long. I don't fathom how a panel of doctors can say hey, we're not going to pass this. We're not going to allow her to medically opt out. It makes no sense because there are such uncertainties regarding COVID right now. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you take the precautionary measures to make sure your players are safe? Right.
And especially with one of your best players at that too.
The reigning MVP. The reigning MVP.
Exactly. So this is you think that's how detrimental is that to how whatever the WNBA has accomplished up to this point, because we saw the salaries go up and it's been a more concerted effort to make sure the WNBA players are more taken care of.
I don't think it's detrimental. I just think that there needs to be some loose ends tightened
Right.
before, you know, things don't need to be performative. They need to be active. And so if you say you want to bet on women, you say you want to further the women's game, you have to
Right.
really invest in these players, and that's invest in them even if they aren't capable of um, their immune systems aren't capable of withstanding this. So I think it's just an interesting situation right now. I think we're all learning. Everybody's angsty because there are no sports right now. It's just the first time coming back, so it's just a lot of uncertainties.
Right.
But I like really, really encourage people to stick it out with the league and try to think on a more positive note. But what's happening with Atlanta, I don't like at all.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue to my next question. By the way, this is Ari Chambers of the Bleacher Report. We're talking about the WNBA and the bubble, everything that's happening down there. So, as you know, the Atlanta Dream's governor and Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler denounced Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was a lot of pushback from not only the players but from the Dream, but also from around the league. And the league came out and said, we definitely support our players in that. So, what's your take on all that? How everything's transpired?
I'm pissed because I feel like Kelly Loeffler's up here playing chess, right?
Yeah.
She didn't have this huge, fan base. She wasn't trending before. She was actually I feel like losing miserably in her realm that she was trying to achieve. And what we did, because she pissed us off so much, first of all, she's committed crimes before, on record.
Right.
But the fact that she came in and said a group of Black people with guns are a mob, even though you're advocating for the NRA and all this other craziness, but when it comes to Black people, you're against that. And then how she can't just simply say Black Lives Matter. Like, I bare minimum, we matter. Like, what the heck are you actually doing?
Right.
But she's trying to say it's divisive. No, Kelly, you not seeing the humanity in your players is divisive.
Exactly.
But what we've done, we've caused her to trend. And it pisses me off because now we've elevated her to a place where those stark conservatives can come in, swoop in, and sponsor her and back her and push her. So it's like a catch-22. You can't win the situation because she made it very clear she's not going to sell the team.
Right.
Kathy is not trying to push for her to sell it because she's not active on the governor's board. But it's just I hate that we've given Kelly Loeffler a platform. I hate that we made her name trend. I hate that we allowed her to open up a door of support. It's disgusting. How can you have these players who are a league that's 80% Black women and you not support it? She's publicly for Trump too, and a lot of his ideals aren't in alignment with what the WNBA stands for.
Exactly.
So it's very confusing.
So what do you think the next step is in terms of, trying to bounce back from this and at least just try to not even worry about her anymore?
I don't know how they're going to get her to step down from the team. And that's what I don't have the answers with that. I think that it's really asinine that she wants to hold so strongly onto it, especially because there are buyers. They're willing to, people have expressed interest in buying the team, and you see your players are unhappy. At this point, it's just a power move saying, I own you. And that's another juxtaposition that we have to explore, right? That
absolutely.
he enjoys owning Black women, and you already don't think their life matters. So there's
not good. Slave mentality, slave master mentality.
They just said, why wouldn't she want to own us? Like it's like you have a white woman who's owning Black women, and that's just the most.
Yeah, it don't sound right. It don't sound right, and that's unfortunate. That's the predicament that a lot of players are in because there are no African American owners out there, or majority owners, I should say. Let me rephrase that. And and unfortunately, that's the kind of place we're in. But let me change gears just a little bit, but kind of stay on that same lanes. So Maya Moore, she made news a couple weeks ago. Great news, actually. She helped exonerate Jonathan Irons from a Jefferson City, Missouri prison, serving 22 years of a 50-year sentence for a crime he did not commit, which he was sentenced when he was only 16, which is crazy or whatever, but he was able to get out thanks to Maya Moore and her team. So, what's your take on that? I mean, to me, honestly, I think that's the best story of this year so far.
I mean, that's what makes Maya a champion. She's been silently working on this for the past, at least to my knowledge, 5 years. Like, I remember listening to a podcast, maybe 6 now, in 2014 about her work with it. And so she just had this heavy on her heart and in her mind. And she made a conscious effort to step away from basketball at the peak of her career. I mean, 4 championships in, she's known to be the coldest, like when she was playing. So like for her to be like, no, this is of utmost priority to me. I'm
Right.
going to step away from this to do what's right, to do what I think is morally sound. That just shows like that's a testament to her character. It's just extremely, extremely dope, and she's a champion on and off the court. And I wish her the best. And look what happens when you are steadfast in what you want to do, steadfast in your faith, and you're like really, really persisting in the causes that are near and dear to your heart.
Right.
It worked.
Right. I mean, it's just great to see. I mean, honestly, she's gotten some pretty good pub on it, but I feel like it still should be more because this is like a really, really, really big deal for a player to step away from the court. It's her second consecutive season. She's not going to play at all to help support to help support prison reform.
Yeah, she did what she thought was right, and it worked out. And you see the impact that you can have when you stay persistent and you work off passion and you don't give up. And you have to. I mean, some sacrifices had to be made.
Mm-hmm.
She sacrificed the game to free this man, and
Right.
that's beautiful.
It's beyond beautiful. By the way, y'all, this is Ari Chambers from the Bleacher Report. So if you have any questions for y'all, we're going to get to that at the last segment. So if you have any questions for her, go and drop them right there in the comment section. So Ari, so the season starts next week.
Yeah.
What's the most intriguing storylines for you? What you got?
I mean, honestly, it's as black and white as I'm just ready to see them play.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big mystery about the rosters in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see who's actually going to be on a roster. That's where I'm at with it. I don't think that there needs to be even a deep storyline affiliated with it. I don't see how they're going to be able to play competitive basketball after having so long not touched a ball.
Right.
And now having a 2-week lead up to a regular season. They have 20 season games. So 2 weeks to come off of a 3-month pandemic. I want to see who's about to ball out and how to do without fans. A lot of players like thrive off of fans and for them to be on a campus, or they're going to play off site, but for them to be in a gym or an arena without the fans, without that energy, there's no home court advantage. You see like Seattle and the Lynx and the Sparks like constantly have great audiences, and I want to see how they'll perform without it.
Right. For me, I got 3 for me. One, I want to see what Simone Augustus does as a Spark. You know what I mean? I think she's been with the Lynx for pretty much her entire career.
14 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Teaming up with Sylvia and seeing all the things that they did up there, all the championships they won. Also seeing Brianna Stewart coming back from an Achilles injury that she suffered at UConn. She's at Seattle. I know she played overseas in Russia, but it got cut back or whatever and because of Corona. But she said she felt fine after doing some research for this show. And also, I would like to see Skylar Diggins. I was playing for the Mercury now, teaming up with Diana Taurasi. Since she's out here, she played for the Wings. I actually covered the Wings or worked for their television department, so I got to see her a lot. So, and then she was here for a while after they moved from Tulsa. So now she's out there in Phoenix. So I definitely want to see how that transpires.
I'm really excited to see Skylar play. I think that she deserves. She's been through a lot.
Absolutely.
A lot of players that leave the Dallas organization that have been a lot questionable in itself, but that's a podcast for a different day. But I think that she's set up for a team now that can put her in the position where she needed to be in coming out of college. She's in a big 3, and I think that would be so great for her. Phoenix is a complete team. They're one of the very few complete teams in IMG, so I expect to see great things out of them. As far as Brianna is concerned, Brianna Stewart is Brianna Stewart. So that's on period, whatever. Simone Augustus, I'm so happy that she's been able to fit in so well with LA. Derek singing her praises about her personality. I think the players enjoy her. I think that's just an added veteran. It's not that LA needs a veteran presence.
Right. They got too many already. Got 4 number 1 picks including Simone now. Right.
And then they're not new to this, right? So it's just a dope situation to seeing all the changes because it was such an exciting free agency period. So yeah, I agree with all your storylines, but it all boils down to watching them play.
Yeah. Now that's my main thing. And this is my last question for you. Do you really think this thing's going to continue, go the entire duration, or what? You think so?
I think what's going to happen is if players do get sick, injured, or whatever, I feel like they're going to fly some players in to get tested, and they're going to just remain in the bubble. So, I feel like if they were to get cut, the players that are filling in for those players now, I feel like they'll just stay in the bubble. I can't, like, don't quote me on that because nobody's
Right.
giving me that information. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
right.
call my phone and be like, why are you spreading lies? No, I just think it would make the most sense for there to be like alternates just
Right.
amongst the campus so that people can just use them as needed.
Man, me just being okay. So we got a question for you right here from my man Rock. I don't know if you can you see the question, Ari?
If there's no fan base next year, how will the WNBA maintain its sponsorship tickets revenue to function for another 10 plus years? I think that right now, because network support is happening, we see it with like NWSL too. There's ample opportunity for sponsorships like that. Advertisers can capitalize off of this season. Obviously, this is unprecedented. These are unprecedented times. So nobody really knows the future of sports in general because we don't.
Right. Nobody knows.
This virus. We have no idea what the future is with this virus. So there's really no way to tell. The league won't fold. It just won't. I don't think that Adam Silver's going to let it happen. I think that Kathy Engelbert comes from a finance background anyway. She's going to make some magic happen. I'm trying to stay optimistic about it. But yeah, I think that right now is the time for advertising to just skyrocket. So I hope they have a bomb sales team. I can't imagine a league not to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was a great answer because that a lot of people don't really think about. Well, I'm glad. Actually, that's my man Ben Roosevelt. He actually works for the Sixers, so I know I had to figure out that wasn't my man Rock. It's my man Ben. We went to Dale State together, and he works for the Sixers. So he works, I think, for sales, if I'm not mistaken. So he understands that portion of sports or whatever. So Ari, I just want to thank you for joining me tonight, taking time out of your busy schedule. I really do appreciate you coming on with me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Hey, it was great. It was great. So we'll talk. I'll wrap with you once I wrap up, finish talking to Andrew and everything, and we'll talk later, okay?
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Ari. Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. That was Ari Chambers from Bleacher Report. She covers the WNBA and a whole bunch of other sports for that particular platform. So up next, I got my man Andrew Lopez. He's a reporter for ESPN. He particularly covers the New Orleans Pelicans. Based down there. Just a quick background about me and him. When I worked at LSU a few years back, he was covering the Tigers as well, football and basketball, and I believe baseball. So I'm going ahead and add him. He has a lot of insight about Zion and that whole thing, what's going on down there. So let me add him real quick. Let's see. Boom. Drew, what's up, man?
What's up, man? This is nice, man. I'm like nice to talk to you again, bro.
Hey, bro. It's good to see you and talk to you again. It's been what, about 4 years? 3-4 years?
Whenever you left?
Yeah, I left. What, 2018, 2017? So yeah, about 3 years.
There's that one time you came back, and I was like, "What you doing here?" I was surprised. I was like, "Man, I didn't know your code still worked to get in."
Man, listen, bro. I had a key. We didn't have codes back then. We had no codes. How you doing, bro? I mean, shoot, you've been having a nice little time off for a little bit, man.
Yeah, man. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot, man. When you think about everything that went down from, I was standing next to a couple of NBA officials, a couple of Pels officials, the second everybody found out about Rudy Gobert.
Wow.
And I remember I'm standing in Sacramento in the tunnel, and we're looking at each other, and it's like this is it, man. this is for real. So
Man.
I remember just being there, and then earlier that day, I'd already got the phone call from ESPN to go home off that road trip because they were playing the Clippers. They were playing the Jazz and the Clippers that Friday, Saturday, and I got that call earlier. They were like, "Yo, we off the road."
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it was we off the road. So when I came home that day, and I've been home since, man. It's 4 months, and I know those people who are going to Orlando, the guys who are the people who are in the bubble, they got to be there for a long time. There's another group that is going to be there kind of on the outside, but I'm going to be here, in New Orleans doing doing. But I'm an expert at Zoom conferences now, bro.
Everybody is. Microsoft Teams. Yeah.
Man, it's we like Blue Jeans, whatever. There's another one. All these different programs now, bro. It's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. So what you're hearing about what's happening down in the bubble, man, more in particular with, with the Pels since you covered them.
Well, obviously, we had big Pels news today with Zion Williamson leaving the bubble.
Right.
That was a big deal. We can get in that a little bit later, but as terms of how things are going on right now,
Right.
a lot of it is just. I think Alvin Gentry kind of said it best the other day. He's like, I think this is one. He thinks this is one of the safest places to be right now, as long as everybody's following those guidelines.
Everybody do what they need to do.
Not going across the street to get Postmates or
out back
or whatever you need to go get. So it's that's just crazy. So for them not to get anything like that, I think that to me, I think is kind of how things are going. Guys are starting to relax. I think they're starting to get used to everything. They're starting to feel comfortable, and the food situation is not as bad as they thought it was.
Right.
So there's a lot of things going on right now where I think guys are becoming more comfortable with how everything's going.
What about like the actual playing atmosphere, like the courts? I know they brought all the courts down. Like, what's like the weight rooms? Like, everybody can't use the same weight room. So like, how is that? What have you heard about that?
It's a lot of wiping down, a lot of hygienics, a lot of getting stuff, clean and clean. I mean, the courts are fine.
Right.
You guys might have they might have some depth perception issues because you're shooting in a ballroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's a little different, I think, than what some of these guys are used to. But a lot of the younger dudes in this league, they've probably gone through those arenas in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Just playing AAU,
Right. Austin Rivers mentioned he's like, I might have the most points in that arena ever. He played, in Winter Park right around there. So because when he was growing up there, when Doc was coaching in Orlando. So I think once they get some games going, I think these scrimmage games between the 22nd and the 29th are going to be huge. Get that feeling back. It's almost like, it's basically preseason games, and it's just a matter of how some of these guys are going to end up treating it. If they're going to be preseason games, it might be a little bit less. It might be like, big boy summer league games. Basically.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be exactly like that. I'm just like, I like summer league personally. I just like the vibe of it. It's like more like interactive. It's like more passionate about it. And I think, I really, even though I would love to see fans there, but I don't mind the summer league or AAU field, because it's going to kind of feel like, to me, like the All-Star game in Chicago this past year, which seems like it was like 5 years ago, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
The thing it reminds me about is just watching TBT recently, and you saw the energy coming from those dudes. Now, obviously, especially when you got to the later stages, like, those guys are obviously playing for $1 million. All right, so stakes are high. It's $1 million or nothing. So those dudes are really getting after it, but you see the excitement, you hear the noise, you hear the clapping.
That's what I'm excited for, the noise.
I tell you what, whether it's us, whether it's Turner, whether it's NBA, whoever is doing these games, somebody better have a quick finger
mute
on that mute button
real quick.
It better look, go to like a 15-second delay just to be safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are going to say some stuff that's not supposed to be said. So, but I think that's going to be part of the experience now. And whether that's, official referees and talking to coaches, players talking to players, I'm excited for everything. Kind of like Ari said before, I'm just excited for ball, bro. Like,
I think everybody is.
Just getting back to basketball. I mean, and I know it's a weird backdrop considering everything that's going on in the country. But I think just being able to get back to hoops is going to be something exciting.
Absolutely, man. This is, for those who just joined us, this is Andrew Lopez, ESPN reporter, based out of New Orleans. Yep, I thought of ESPN up there. He's based out of New Orleans, Louisiana. He covers the New Orleans Pelicans. So I want to shift gears to them, man. So Zion, obviously, ranked number 1 pick and everything, got a late start to his season due to his injury, but he came out swinging, man. They had him on a minutes restriction and everything, but he still was able to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, 23 points, 7 rebounds, averaging in 19 games. He's one of like 4 teenagers in the NBA to average 20 in a season. He only played the 19, but he did have to leave the bubble this morning to attend to an emergency family matter, a medical matter, according to the team. And that's as much as we know right now. So whether and when he gets back, I mean, obviously he needs to take care of what's going on in his family first. And I think that's obviously the biggest concern, both for him and the Pels right now. So, but not having him, you know, before he came back, they had won 11 of 16 without
they got
him.
a nice roll. They got a nice roll.
Once Derek Favors came back and he started playing really well, Lonzo started to step up. So they've
Ingram
shown
as well too.
Ingram playing at an all-star level. So they've shown that they could play without him. You know what I'm saying? But I think the biggest thing is when he can come back. If he is getting tested every day, he can come back in. Once he gets back to the bubble, he can be back on the court in as little as 4 days. If he is not getting tested, he's looking at a 10 to 14-day quarantine. And I think that's the biggest thing is if he's being tested when he leaves. No word on that right now. You would think that the team wanted to do that, but they've shown that they can win games without him. Like I said, that 11-5 stretch right before he came back. So, and then they won the one game he didn't play once he returned. So, 12 out of their last 17 when Zion wasn't on the floor. I think obviously he's a big part, and the NBA has built a lot of their schedule around him playing. A lot of including that opening night. They're one of the teams on opening night. So I think you know we talked to Alvin Gentry in about an hour and a half because they had one of the later practices today. So. I don't think we'll get much, but we'll see a little bit about what's going on.
I know a particular picture of him blew up pretty big of him in the weight room, man. How much different does he look to what he does then and back what he looks like now?
What I see right now is this. I see a guy who maybe took some of that fat and turned it into lean muscle. I don't think he weighs less. I don't think it's like Jokic who. You know,
he looks like Porzingis.
Yeah, I don't think it's him. I don't think it's that bad. You know what I'm saying? But I think he still weighs probably 275, 280, 285 in that area.
Right.
But I think what he says is, I think he feels different. I think you know what I'm saying. And
he's just back into more of a groove.
He looks different. Yeah, he looks different. He was working out every day. He was getting on the court with his stepdad.
Right.
He's feeling it right now, and I think that's the biggest thing.
That's good, man. I'm excited to see him get back, and I'm just glad because I always thought, even when he was at Duke, man, I thought he was still a little bit overweight. Not saying overweight, but I feel he could have trimmed up a lot more, and I feel like, you know, that's what he kind of looks like now. What about his shooting, man? I mean, that was a big point of emphasis that everybody's talking about, but he seemed he could be pretty decent on the perimeter when his numbers called.
Yeah, so what it seems like is he's been shooting a lot every day. He obviously you talked about that first game, the 4 for 4 from 3. I've never heard the Smoothie King Center as loud as it was when that happened. I thought the roof was about to blow. I thought we were gonna have an open air NBA arena, bro. Like it was loud.
Right.
That's crazy. It was crazy in there.
Sounded like the Dome a little bit.
Bro, it was like you would have thought like Reggie just took one to the house, like in 06.
Wow.
Like that's how loud it was. And I was like, man, like this is crazy. And you know, after that, I think he went like 2 for 9 over his next however long. So he's got some work to do there. It's not a natural part of his game right now. But you know, when we talked to him last week, he said he's like, man, look, you know, I think we can do this. I think we can. You'll see a different kind of player that I can turn into, and I think that's got to be exciting to Pels fans, especially if he can put a 3-pointer into his game early. I mean, he was averaging 23 a night, basically just going to the rim. So
and just putbacks and all that.
Putbacks and just bullying dudes around, getting to the line.
Yeah.
If he even gets a little bit of a shot at this point, I mean, it just makes him even more of a threat.
Crazy, man. So we're gonna change gears a little bit, man. Stick with the Pels, though. On a more positive note, or not a positive, but more on a different note. Drew Holiday and his wife, you know, he came out. Actually, your tweet, Slam posted yesterday. I saw it. Said that he's going to donate his checks to his new. It's going to be a social impact fund. Him and his wife are going to start. So that I would say that was about $3.5 million or something like that.
It's actually it could be $5.3 million.
Wow.
Is what the NBA PA thinks about it, and it was kind of funny. His wife Lauren, who in her own right is a phenomenal athlete. It was
Absolutely.
World Cup champion, Olympian, played for the United States women's team.
Right.
He said they were kind of just sitting in the house one day, and Lauren just mentioned it. She's like, why don't you just give up the rest of your salary for the year and we use that to start this? And he was like, that's a great idea. And he was like, he was all in.
Yeah.
So they're going to take the rest of his game checks, which it could total up to $5.3 million. And that's just a great thing to see, man. For athletes to come out here and really put their money where their mouth is. And
Right.
he mentioned it to me. He said, look, all we got right now is money and time.
Right.
That's two valuable assets, and we have both of them. So let's do what we have to do. So, props to the Holidays, man. They're continuously
Great family.
a phenomenal family. Drew, Lauren, and everybody, even going to his parents, and they're going to do this fund in New Orleans, obviously where Drew plays, L.A. where Drew is from, and Indianapolis where Lauren is from, and where also Justin and Aaron are. So.
Right.
Just a great gesture by them, man. Just overall, just a phenomenal gesture.
Phenomenal, man. By the way, for those who just joined us, it's Andrew Lopez, ESPN reporter based out of New Orleans, Louisiana, the boot. So, man, how do you think the Western Conference is going to shake out, bro?
It's going to be fun, man. And I guess the biggest thing to me is going to be the seeding thing doesn't really matter anymore because you don't have home court. So I think the biggest thing to me is going to be who avoids who, I think, at this point. Who avoids,
okay, that's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Like, if you really want to be in the 4 or 5 matchup and have to play the Lakers possibly in the second round, or do you want to try? You want to try to get to 3? Do you want to try to get to 6? So I think that's going to be interesting. And then obviously, the race for the 8 seed. Memphis is 3.5 up on the Pels. The Trailblazers and the Kings, San Antonio and Phoenix are also in that. I think the biggest thing to me is, who gets to Memphis. Obviously, being 3.5 up, Portland has a leg up because they're, I think, 1,000th of a point, percentage point ahead of the Pels and the Kings. So they just got to finish with a better record. But even without Zion, things work out for the Pels, man. I mean, they start off Jazz, Clippers, but then every other team they play is under 500, which is incredible considering these are the 22 best teams in the league. Right. So when you think about it, after they play Jazz, Clippers, they go Grizzlies, Kings, Wizards, Spurs, Kings, Magic. Kings are, they're missing a piece. They may miss more with De'Aaron Fox. The Spurs are missing 2 bigs. The Magic probably by that last game are going to be locked into 7. They may not, The Wizards are missing Davis Bertans and Bradley Beal. So things are lining up for you if you're a Pels fan for your team to be in it. And I think they'll find a way to get to at least that play-in game if things break their way. I still want to watch out for Portland. Especially having Nurkic and Collins back. I think that's always
and Melo too as well.
Melo's
in phenomenal shape, bro.
Who's actually going to be in the bubble? And I remember there was some concern that he wasn't going to be there at first. So, anytime you have Dame, you got a good shot.
Dollar, man.
you got a good shot. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think it's going to go down the last couple of games for those teams trying to stay competitive to make that little play-in tournament.
Okay, we're just about done, man. So, hey, guys, if you have any questions for Andrew, go and drop them in the comments section for him. And then as we get ready to wrap up here. So, what's your gut feeling? Do you think this thing is going to last this entirety go to the playoffs and we'll see a champion at the end of the season?
Now, yeah, I lean more to yes now. If you'd have asked me that 3 weeks ago, I don't know if we'd have made it. But I think some of these guys they're determined to make it all the way in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? If they, like we talked about earlier, as long as you don't cross the street to go get Postmates or whatever you're going to get, all right, you trying to get your Outback or whatever you're trying to get. You're not flying nobody out. You're not doing none of that. As long as you do what you're supposed to. As long as you do what you're supposed to, there's no reason why we can't make this till October. And I think you have created a safe environment inside of the bubble, which is why it was kind of crazy to me that they were talking about, guys like Pop and D'Antoni and Alvin Gentry not being able to go to the bubble because they're 65. But at the same time, with all this testing, it's the safest place to be. So now after seeing it for like a week and a half, I think they can make it all the way through.
That's good. That's good. Okay, we got a couple of questions, man. I got my man Mike out of St. Louis. His question is, how do we anticipate the lack of travel schedule to impact the playoff grind?
I think what you're going to see is, I think the biggest thing with the lack of travel is going to do, it'll keep guys fresher as we go later in the playoffs, when you get to semis, conference finals and things like that. But I think the biggest thing, honestly, is going to be that no home court advantage. You take a team like Philly. Philly was amazing at home this year. Absolutely amazing. I think the best home team in the league, but they were atrocious on the road. They don't have to worry about that in a 3-6 matchup anymore. So what team do you get now? What team do you get the road version of Philly? Do you get the home version of Philly? So that, I think, is going to be the biggest thing that the lack of travel takes care of.
Cool. All right, next question. We got my man Ben, who actually works for the Sixers. I'm not sure if he still does, but I know he used to. His question is, does this chip come with an asterisk for whoever wins?
I think it does, but I don't think it'll be in a bad way. I just think it's almost harder to try to come out of this, I think, because of everything that's been thrown, and it's not just one team that has to deal with it. All 16 have to deal with this, and try to get through to this. And I think, to me, it's still going to be a true champion. Yeah, we missed 15 to 18 regular season games.
Right.
To me, you're still going to be a true champion. I don't think the lockout years are. I don't think of those games as being any less. So it'll have one, but only because just to say, hey, man, it was a tough road to get down there.
Right. That's good. I like that because people say, oh well, the Jordan, Kobe, oh he got 4 rings, and LeBron come in, oh he won it. Say if he wins his 4th, like it's an asterisk next to that. So it's I don't think so, man, because you just got to play whatever cards you're dealt. You know what I mean? You just got to roll with it. You know,
and everybody has the same cards. That's the thing to me. It's not like only one team is dealing with it, or it's an injury, or like Kyrie and Kevin Love getting hurt in the playoffs, or KD and Clay getting hurt. So it's not just happening to one team. It's just something that everybody's got to deal with right now. So,
right. All right, we got time for 2 more. We got Brandon. He says he loves your work. So how does your relationship with Griff starting? How has it blossomed? David Griffin, the GM of the Pels.
Man, this is how my relationship started with Griff. After his opening press conference, I just walked up to him and asked him for time to talk. And I explained, I was like, hey, at the time I was working for the Picayune, and I was like, hey, I'm the beat writer for Times Picayune. I cover the team. If we can have a chance to, talk, maybe 30, 45 minutes. And he was like, all right, cool. And boom, started from there, man. And he is one of the most accessible execs I've ever seen, not just with myself, but with other people. He is really a good dude from a media perspective. Obviously, he's going to try and play his cards. We're going to try and play our cards.
Right.
And he understands that. He did media for 2 years or 2 or 3 years. Yeah. So he understands that kind of thing. So to me, I think it's a great working relationship so far.
Great. All right, last one. We got my man William Jones, frat brother of mine, actually based out of New Orleans. He says, what's your thoughts on the snitch hotline? And do you think it will be actually utilized?
At first I was team no snitch. I was team nobody should pick up that phone.
Yeah.
But I was watching the Jump today or yesterday, I think, when Drew made his announcement, and RJ and Scotty made a great point. You're messing with dudes' livelihoods if you leave the bubble for some unauthorized reason, and you're messing with dudes' game checks, you're messing with their wallets. If the NBA is to say you go out and you sneak out the bubble, you do whatever, and then you come back and you bring the virus to your whole team, and that team plays somebody you don't know.
Nobody gets paid.
But at least, so to me in that aspect, I get it. You got to use this for like, it's got to be like the level you call. I don't want to equate it to 911, but like it's got to be like a top level thing. It can't be. I'm not here for dudes just like, hey man, I saw LeBron without a mask on. You might want to go call him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not down for that.
Nah. But like serious stuff, like, hey man, I just saw a dude sneaking out. He bringing a girl up to the phone,
something like, man, look, hey, you messing with dudes' pocketbooks, and when that happens, I'm like, all right, I get you.
Man, hey y'all, this is Andrew Lopez from ESPN. Drew, thanks for joining me, bro. Great catching up with you, man. I'm gonna catch up with you a little bit later on. All right, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro. Be safe down in New Orleans, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, now. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for the first episode, the relaunch episode of Crunch Time. I want to thank y'all for joining me. As y'all can see, new brand, got the whole backdrop or whatever. So shout out to Andre Wheeler and also my man Anthony Mentor for kind of helping me bridge this whole thing together from a branding standpoint. So next week, I got something lined up right now, but I'm just lining up the guests. It's going to focus more so on the college sports aspect. So I want y'all to stay tuned. So also, man, let me know if y'all have any suggestions of how I can get better and how I can make this whole thing get better, whatever. So thank y'all again. I'll see y'all next week, man, and I'll holler at y'all.